Good afternoon. I'd like to call the meeting of the Arts, Parks, Library, and Entertainment Committee to order. Today is Tuesday, March 18th. We're in Committee Room 4 for those who are feverishly on their way and watching online. For those who are watching, thank you for your patience. Councilwoman Sepulveda, if you'd like to just join us at the table, because we're gonna probably move forward with the presentation first, and we'd love to make sure you're comfortable and able to listen. I'll go through and call for the roll. Councilmember Bradford's absence. Councilmember Capp.
Here.
Easlett.
Here.
Ewing. Hancock. Lee. Stiles.
Present.
Taylor. Vice Chair Vo.
Here.
And Councilmember Welsh is also absent. We've got a couple of members that are dealing with sick loved ones or are sick themselves. So we wish them well. With that, we do not have the quorum. We do have our quorum. Yeah. Sorry, I started to say I not have our quorum, and you're like, I was like, sorry, I didn't follow all the head jumps. So we do not have the quorum that we need in order to conduct business, to hear the resolutions and ordinance that are before us. If that changes, we will move into that part of the business. So I do want to acknowledge that we do have a public comment sign-up sheet. No one has signed up, and so we'll dispense of that. Well, we are really honored today to have members from the Municipal Auditorium to give us a full update. We have, of course, Nancy Van Rees, former council member and also commission member of the Auditorium, the Municipal Auditorium, Tanisha Alexander and Darren Howard. Who else do we have with the Municipal Auditorium? Okay, wonderful. And do we have anyone else here that's to be present as a guest that's talking on behalf of or present because of?
Musicians Hall of Fame.
Musicians Hall of Fame, wonderful. And would you share your name as well?
I'm Linda Chambers.
With the Musicians Hall of Fame.
Musicians Hall of Fame.
Wonderful. Thank you.
President and CEO. Yes.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
This is Angie Smith. She's
hello.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing that for the record for those who can't be here in person but can hear your names, and we're so thankful for you. Is there anyone else here on behalf of this presentation? Okay, wonderful. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over, Councilmember or Ms. Van Rees.
Recovering council member.
Yes.
Good evening. My name is Nancy Van Rees. About 8 months ago, I was appointed to the Nashville Municipal Auditorium as a commissioner. It's been my pleasure to have served there so far, and a lot has happened during that time period. I wanted to take a moment to make sure that we were informing this committee and the council at large what is happening at Nashville Municipal Auditorium. And so I've asked the folks who grind it out every day to give us a report. I've had some paperwork that I'm going to pass out to you as well, basically to look at what's been happening recently and then what we vision in the future. As the budget approaches, you want to kind of have in mind what's happening there. Some of the highlight successful things that I think that have happened over the last 6 to 8 months or so has been, of course, the renewal of the Live Nation agreement, as well as a new vendor agreement for concessions. The new agreement with the Musicians Hall of Fame, which will be coming before the committee for discussion at, I believe, the next meeting on first reading. So you'll see that coming through, and you'll have a knowledge of that as happening. But then, of course, our excitement as to the success of Athletes Unlimited and their new home at Nashville Municipal Auditorium. So with that, I'm going to throw it over to Darren and Tanisha to be able to describe a few things, and then I'll pass these things out so that you can follow along.
All right, thank you all so much. The Municipal Auditorium has experienced a highly successful year, and we're excited to build on this momentum. In fiscal year 2025, we saw a significant growth in booked events with 191 event days, which is a remarkable 46% increase compared to FY23. This success is largely due to our strategic partnerships and marketing efforts. Working closely with the Mayor's Office, Metro Legal, and Finance Departments has been instrumental in supporting the auditorium's continued success in diverse programming and ongoing maintenance. The proposed FY26 budget modifications aim to reinforce our commitment to excellence while preparing us for continued success. As we host a growing number of events, the wear and tear on our facility is also increasing. To meet this demand, we propose a $100,000 increase in maintenance budget. This will allow us to address the needs of critical infrastructure systems such as HVAC, plumbing, and electrical before they become issues. Proactively maintaining our facilities will help prevent costly emergency repairs and minimize disruptions to our event schedule. With the increase in events and guests that are attending our venue, there's a corresponding rise in water usage. We're proposing a $20,000 increase in water utility to ensure that we can continue to provide high standard of service for our events. Our venue's success depends on the ability to execute large-scale events seamlessly. To support this, we propose a $270,000 increase for temporary services. This funding will cover the cost of essential event support, including setup, stagehands, security, EMTs, cleaning, janitorial, crowd control, and box office. These additions will ensure smooth operations and enhance safety, particularly for large and more complex events. To stay competitive and to provide the best possible service for our clients, we propose investing $30,000 to upgrade office supplies and software. Specifically, we plan to replace AutoCAD with Vectorworks. Vectorworks is a more advanced tool for creating accurate event layouts and seating charts. This will streamline our event planning process and make it easier for clients to visualize the event space. We propose expanding our marketing budget by $30,000 to attract diverse events and new promoters. This investment will help us increase visibility, generate more event bookings, and ultimately drive additional revenue to the venue. Our capital improvement request of $4 million has been submitted to replace the auditorium's original roof. The last roof dome coat was done in 1995, which was 30 years ago. The roof's deteriorating condition is leading to emergency repairs and causing event disruptions, making the replacement essential for maintaining the facility's operations and ensuring its long-term viability. Looking ahead, we are optimistic about our revenue projections. While we have traditionally been conservative in our revenue projections, the post-pandemic recovery and our increased business operations have instilled greater confidence in our ability to exceed expectations. Our partnership with Live Nation through the Preferred Promoters Agreement guarantees us $500,000. We expect an additional $2.1 million in revenue from facility rentals, including our lease renewal with the Musicians Hall of Fame and Museum, which will go before council for approval, and the multi-year partnership with Athletes Unlimited.
Hi everyone, and Darren. So going off of that, the Municipal Auditorium, we had a fee study done in FY24 that evaluated the pricing of our rentals, or of rentals in our region. The study showed us where we were lacking and where we could gain revenues. In this, we proposed facility rate adjustments to implement in FY26 starting on July 1. We're hoping that this new rental rate, that we are capturing price transparency, and we're going to expand our daily rental rates to be more inclusive to clients. Our goal is to retain business and to gain new clients. Some of our proposed new rental rates include an increase in our daily rental for ticketed and non-ticketed events. We're going to change our rehearsal rate structure. We're adding a new filming day fee. We're going to encapsulate more meeting room rentals for smaller events. And then we're increasing our ancillary costs by creating a tiered system for event packages. The last major change to our pricing structure is an administrative fee. This rate will encapsulate any full-time staffing needs for events that come through the venue. If the fee was added in this fiscal year for FY25, we would have gained an additional $55,000 of revenue to our bottom line. By changing our pricing structure, we look to increase our revenues and stay on track with the success that we have seen over the previous 3 fiscal years. And I did want to speak on a success that has been mentioned already, but we just completed the 4th season of Athletes Unlimited. It's the inaugural season for Nashville. We saw amazing growth over 4 categories for AU. We saw a 96% increase in TV viewership. We saw an 89% increase in overall attendance, a 151% increase in merchandise sales, and a 106% increase in social media and online engagement. We know that our partnership with them was successful on and off the court with these kinds of numbers, and I'm happy to announce that they are already coming back for FY26, for 2026 season. In conclusion, our goals remain clear: to keep our operations running smoothly, attract more events, and generate an increased revenue. Our proposed budget modifications will enable us to maintain the high standards that our clients have come to expect, improve the overall guest experience, and position the Nashville Municipal Auditorium for a long-term growth and success. We are confident that these strategic investments will not only enhance our ability to meet the needs of our growing event calendar, but will also strengthen our reputation as a premier event space in Nashville.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much for being here, for the presentation, and for the handouts here. Councilmember Stiles.
What are you raising your filming fee to?
So it's a new rate for us. The day will be an all-inclusive day rate of $6,500. It will include power, equipment, and everything that will be accessible inside the venue.
That's how many square feet?
So our main floor is 32,000 square feet.
32,000 square feet for $6,500 a day.
Yeah, and that doesn't include the concourse or any of the green room spaces that we have.
So what would that be additionally? Have you all talked about if you're using the green room and you're using the space?
Typically, the green rooms backstage are included in all rental packages, but the ancillary meeting room spaces, we do have 3 of those. Those are an additional rate that is charged.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Wonderful. Any other questions? Vice Chair Bo.
Thank you so much, Chair. Can y'all tell us again, I didn't tell you, how much is for the roof replacement, the cost? Did you?
It's estimated 3.9 million. So we added to our capital and 4% improvement of $4 million.
Anything this committee could do to protect that request would be valuable.
Councilmember Stiles.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So this is a very long list of items. If you were to triage it, if you have triaged it, what are your top 3?
Our top 3 would be our roof, most definitely, and then it would be the temporary services, and then maintenance.
Was that the 30,000? Oh no, the 270. And what was the last one?
Maintenance.
Maintenance.
So you're, Councilmember Stiles, do you mind if I add in a
Please.
question? So that, by listing those top 3, are those kind of just seen as ones that are can't live without,
Yes, those
so to
are the ones that we
speak?
can't
So
live without.
emergency more than,
Well, we have ongoing maintenance.
Yeah.
Of course, our building is 63 years old.
Yeah.
So it's ongoing maintenance just to keep it operational. And then we have the temporary services where it is a pass-through, so we do see some of that money back in revenue. However, our budget does not support the continue, like, the more we grow, our budget doesn't support the temporary services that we use to put on the events.
Are there any other questions from other council members? Or any other members of the commission, or anyone
Yeah, I just
here
had
wants to share some?
one. I asked Darren to give me a number, and I was surprised by. So, over the course of the 4-week time period of Athletes Unlimited, there were 93 jobs created for Nashvillians, and 900 jobs created. Is that right? See, that's what I mean. It's like, give me a check.
So if anyone's listening, wants to say there are 900
yes.
jobs created in the 4
So,
weeks.
is that right? 903?
Yeah, over cleaning and security and concessions workers and staff included to set the venue and flip the venue. There were about 900 part-time employees that came through the venue over the 8 weeks of the year.
So just during that one event, and so every time there's an event added, there's that many jobs added into our economy. And that was something that I'd never grasped before joining the commission, so I just wanted to make that point.
Well, thank you. I think that's incredibly important to realize. Also, congratulations on the venue and everyone else who worked for the Athletes Unlimited to have them here, and their continued presence here is pretty huge success. And if you were able to attend, I think you could feel how exciting it was. I know Councilmember Vo was also able to attend some games. Are there any other questions? We will be hearing as budget requests have come up here in the next couple of months. So it's really a great opportunity to any other follow-ups or questions folks may have. What's coming up? With this, I think just one follow-up, just understanding first of all, the rental rate comparison, thank you for bringing these, what your current rates are, what the proposed rates moving forward into the new year. I don't know what the competitiveness, but it seems lower than a competitive rate for other venues that I've looked at just for other non-metro venues and private sector. So thank you all for also continuing to keep these rates, I think, much more approachable than other private spaces. With that, do you think the proposed rates are enough that assist you with your budget? That's a hard thing to balance both at the same time, but just curious.
Yeah, Darren can speak to the study that was done that created these numbers, which were approved by the
fee
commission.
that we had done really landed us somewhere in the middle. It reviewed government-owned properties and privately owned properties, and it kind of landed us in the middle of where our rates were. And so in its projection at year 5, we were going to be at the 3.2 million in projected revenue. I think last year we hit 3.12. So we were already kind of seeing the growth that was talking about. And so when we were looking at the rate increases, I wasn't really worried about the rent. The rent is a sweet spot for us, so I didn't want to increase that too much. It was the ancillary costs we were losing money, the tables, the chairs, the pipe and drape, all the stuff that goes into putting on an event.
Yeah.
Because the way we have it structured now, we don't have enough staff to see exactly what's being used. So we're putting it in a package system, so we charge per package moving forward, which would generate, in my opinion, more revenue for us on the ancillaries that go into putting on the event. And then by adding the administration cost, we have currently never had an administration cost on an event, so we weren't charging appropriately for our time on putting those events on.
Thank you for taking the time to walk through that. Are there any other?
Metro doesn't do anything without a study, so there was a study done to determine those rates.
It's wonderful. If anyone wants a copy of the study, I'm sure we can, if you'll
Absolutely.
get that to the committee, and we'll put that in our resources. Are there any other questions, Councilmember, or Vice Chair Vo? Sorry.
No, thank you, Chair. I just had a question because on the equipment rental, it says the same per day, but then the per week changed. So can y'all just tell us what it changed to?
So,
Or is that?
I believe right now the current rate is $375 per day, and then it's going up to $375 per day or $1125 for the week, which is 3 days of rental. So if they hit the third day, it's going to be a weekly charge. And we did add some more equipment. So we have 2 forklifts that we offer, and now we offer a scissor lift as well.
So you kept the per day rate the same, but per week it went up?
Yes.
Okay, I see.
Anyone else have any other questions? Do you want me to give you a little bit more time to review this before we ask for more questions? Just kidding. Thank you so much for being here, for taking the time to provide these materials, and also for you being here personally. It really does make a difference. I know, I'm sorry that we don't have a quorum, but fortunately with the business with you all, I know you're not contingent on us today for that. So thank you for being here. And we'll make sure that all the resources you provided here are also in our council committee folder as a point of reference. And is there anything else on this item before? No.
The other municipal auditorium stuff, so we can
But-
talk about it all together.
Yeah, but that's coming up next week though, right? So, okay. All right, with that, we'll go ahead and close out that portion of the report. And we are still in a position where we don't have quorum.
Let me see if I can, let me take one more look and see if maybe there's something.
Okay. We're gonna give it one more try before we close out our meeting. But for all the guests who are here, thank you all for being here. It makes a difference. I'm sorry, I know it doesn't always work out, but it's always, no doubt, not the easiest adventure at this time of day to come here. So thank you all for being here. I don't think Hannah's gonna find another member.
Everyone that is not here.
Yeah, but I will give the courtesy for her, waiting for her to come back before we close the meeting, as we won't be able to take action on any other items on our agenda. No. Did want to extend the offer to waiting for you to come back. Although we do have Kevin Roten back in the building, back in this room, it doesn't make a difference for our quorum. No, not this year. But with that, is there any other requests or actions from?
Ewing is here. Okay, great.
Oh, hi, y'all.
Sorry.
All right. Councilmember Ewing, I know you just made a difference by being here. Now we can conduct business, so we're so thankful. So we did just conclude our presentation of the municipal auditorium, and from the commission members, thank you all so much. You are welcome to stay throughout the remainder of this meeting, or you are welcome. We will not be offended if you travel on. That is up to you. We are very appreciative of you. But this time you don't have to wait for everything else. It'll be that everyone else had to wait for you. So, so thank you all. You're welcome to stay. There's going to be some seats up here.
Can I have 1 minute to speak?
Oh, you want to speak on the agenda?
I just wanted to introduce myself and make sure that y'all knew that our lease is for approval soon. It's been approved by the Municipal Commission. But anybody that hasn't been over to the Musicians Hall of Fame and Museum, just wanted you to be invited to come and see what we do. We're a nonprofit 501c3. Our motto is to preserve, restore, and educate. And we honor musicians, engineers, and producers, yes. And we have some artifacts that have never been seen before. Our last exhibit that we just finished 2 weeks ago is on Ringo Starr, and we have the drums that he played on Shea Stadium, as well as several outfits that what he wore on Abbey Road album cover and Strawberry Fields, and a lot of documentation that he's never put on display before. He came in and did the ribbon cutting for that. So I just wanted to let you know what we're about, and hope that when it does come up before the council that our lease will be renewed. Yes.
Are there any days that are better than others for us to come and visit?
You can come anytime.
Okay.
You tell me when it is, and if you want to come individually or if you want to come as a group, I'd love
be a
to show you
field
through.
trip.
Field trip. I'd love to show you. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And we would love to have you back here too when the lease is considered before the committee and the council. So hopefully that'll be at the next meeting, and we'll get to see your amazing faces. And if you'd like to email us or just reach out to you can reach out to Councilmember Stiles or myself or Vice Chair Vo, and we can also try to arrange a visit over to the Hall of Fame. So
Yes, thank you.
thank you so much for taking the
Thank you.
moment.
Thanks, everybody.
May I get one of those packages? Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. With that, we do have we have a quorum with Councilmember Ewing. Thank you so much. I know you were working through personal family matters, and so you are one heck of a trooper for trooping on in here. But with your addition, we can actually
Do the business of the city.
conduct business of this committee. How about that? And I talked about as long and slow as I could. I am going to move through resolutions that are on the agenda. We do have, let's see here, 4 resolutions. I'll move those on to a consent calendar. And if members have one that they want bumped, if you'll, speak up. I do need to read those items out loud, their captions, and we'll do that. RS 2025-1080, a resolution accepting the terms of a cooperative purchasing master agreement for promotional products and services for the Nashville Public Library. Item number 2 on that would be considered for the consent agenda unless someone bumps this. RS 2025-1087, a resolution accepting an in-kind grant from the Hillsborough West End Neighborhood Association to the Metropolitan Government, acting by and through the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Rec, to provide tags for existing trees and sign for the Neighborhood Association's Arboretum to include Fannie Mae Dees Park. Item number 3, RS 2025-1088, a resolution accepting a grant from the Centennial Park Conservancy to the Metropolitan Government, acting by and through the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Rec, to provide funding for educational conferences, travel, and other expenses for Parthenon staff. And Resolution 2025-1100, a resolution requesting Mayor Freddie O'Connell create an advisory working group to explore and determine a coordinating model that supports a long-term sustainable youth policy and strategic plan and analysis of data that extends beyond mayoral administrations. Is there an action to remove any of these from the consent? Seeing none, all in favor of the consent agenda, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any present not voting? All right, with that, the consent agenda and the resolutions pass. Bills on second reading. Item number 5 on the calendar, BL 2025-688, an ordinance to amend Chapter 2.147 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws regarding the Nashville Music, Entertainment, and Film Commission. This was deferred from last week, so it's back to us this week. There's also a substitute on the bill. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Okay. Okay, this has been moved and properly seconded. Is there sponsor Sepulveda?
Yes.
you're recognized for presentation of the legislation.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you to Councilmember Cat for filling in while I was in a better place. Just kidding. So just to refresh everyone's memory in regards to the legislation, just some highlights. The legislation is what came out of the working group that was formed to look at all boards and commissions. Later tonight, you'll also be looking at the Stormwater Board. But this essentially changes the name of the board to be consistent with the Tennessee Entertainment Commission, and this was a request from the commission itself. This clarifies various definitions used in the section. This does reduce the membership from 19 members to 15 members. Currently, 19 members include 4 ex officio members. This will also be over time. It will not be immediate. We did find that best practice was to have between 7 and 11 voting members. It provides diversity of opinion and best practice to reach consensus. It fixes unusable language related to hiring authority. So if you all remember, not too long ago, we created the Contract and Compliance Board. This would have a similar structure in that the mayor will be the hiring authority, but similar to the Contract and Compliance Board, the board itself will have a say. Right now, at our first meeting, our chair was elected for the Contract and Compliance Board, and our chair will be sitting in the interview process. And then also, this would be a quicker way to go ahead and get the executive director hired. And so yeah, those are some of the highlights from the existing ordinance before you.
Are there any questions or?
No questions, I
Councilmember.
just want to move my substitute.
Okay, the floor is open.
Awesome. Well, can I move my substitute? Is that cool? Okay.
Welcome
So
to make
I moved
any-
to move my substitute.
There's a motion, Councilmember Stiles has made a motion for the substitute that she's filed in this legislation. Is there a second? Okay, motion is properly before us. Councilmember Stiles, do you want to present your?
Yes, if I could.
Substitute.
And I love the sponsor, for the record, personally.
On camera.
I'm on camera, yes. I love the sponsor. I do not support her bill at all, hence the substitute. We spent 2 years, as we're refreshing memories, we spent 2 years last term creating this commission. This was through not just community conversations, but also small groups. We have several, the chair of the commission is here, the vice chair is here, also Commissioner Miller is here to discuss the issues that we have in regards to this initial bill. One of the biggest things that came up 2 years ago, or rather 4 years ago, was that any mayoral involvement creates a political process that disrupts consistency. There have been various iterations, whether it was a film commission, a Music City Music Council was proposed, and every time the mayor changed, interests changed. And so these initiatives fell apart. We are known as Music City, but music is not the only thing that we do here anymore. We have animation, we have composition taking place, we have fashion, theater, we have many different creative entities here that need to be addressed. And so to have that consistency, we looked at Memphis. Memphis is their office has been in existence for 25 years. When projects come to Memphis, they know they're going to one person, and that person knows the city in and out. She is able to provide city incentives in addition to state incentives, and the mayors have come and gone in that time. This city, the creative community, wants the same thing, and that was something that was a part of the bill. The current mayor voted on that bill. Former Councilmember Rosenberg voted on it, and so did Councilmember Sepulveda, who actually was one of the sponsors. So they've heard what the concerns are and are actively going against that now, which I don't think is fair. And I think we'll have an opportunity to hear from the current commissioners to explain the concern in minimizing numbers without having a full conversation. Many commissioners, I did go to the meeting last month, many commissioners didn't take that survey that has been referenced as input. We heard Councilmember Sepulveda share with us that the name change was, oh, hello, and Commissioner Hazel Joyner-Smith is here with us now. The name change was suggested. It was actually the original name that was suggested for the commission 4 years ago, but everything else that was mentioned was done without the commission's knowledge. So the members, shrinking the members, hiring being done by the mayor, never conveyed to the commission. I think if we are working with our constituents, working for our constituents, then we need to be having conversations with them. And making decisions without talking to them is not how we are effective. So I think I would love to know who is it that said it was a best practice to have 7 to 11 members on a commission. And if these members have not all been surveyed, then why are we trying to minimize them? There isn't a single commissioner that is in support of being minimized from 15 to 11. And so that increases their workload. We had many conversations about what this commission would do, about what the new Office of Music, Film, and Entertainment is going to do. So why are we now trying to run legislation that is counter to that? And again, while I appreciate the sponsor's new commission that she has, I don't think that it's comparable. And I think dismissing the work that was done on this commission and believing that this latest commission has somehow done more work or better work is inaccurate. And I think when you have an opportunity to hear from the commissioners that are here, they will be able to explain what the process has been like. We have 117 applicants for the executive director. I think that is unheard of as a response for a metro office. So while we are doing these back and forth games, there's a process that's being held up in terms of an executive director being hired. And as we all know, there are other executive directors that need to be hired, and this process doesn't run concurrently. So one has to finish before another one gets started, so we are slowing things down. The people that are on this commission are all in this industry. They are the best people to make a decision about who gets hired for this job. They know what's needed. There's anybody else who does. And so if we voted to give them this ability 2 years ago, why are we then thinking that it's a good idea to go back to where we've been before, which is making it a political appointment? I think we need to respect the process. I think we need to respect the work that was done. Many meetings were had, not just here in the courthouse, but we had a meeting at CDC, we had music executives, we have had film, we have had union members. Councilmember Allen is in here right now. She is an engineer. She came to so many meetings to try and understand entertainment and had a color-coded chart and the whole 9 yards. So I'm sure she will also be able to speak to the fact that unanimously everyone said this should not be impacted by any mayoral administration. So why then are we doing this? And for us to assume, especially when we don't work in the industry, to assume that we know best that's just foolishness. So I would like to get the substitute passed. So with that.
Are there any questions from committee members? Councilmember or Vice Chair Vo.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, I was just wondering, so with your substitute, do you have a plan for the hiring, and then what about HR and that? If you can speak to that, that'd be very helpful.
Sure. So with the substitute, one of the concerns that I heard when the bill first came forth and I had the first substitute was, well, this is an office within the mayor's office and the mayor should have control over it. So despite the last mayor being okay with it, okay, if we take it out of the mayor's office, then we no longer have that issue. What happens is the new office that was created last term as well, it's the Office of Music, Film, and Entertainment, that becomes a standalone office, much in the way that Metro Arts exists. There's only an executive director for right now, so it would be standalone. It wouldn't be underneath the mayor's office. Does that answer the question? Oh, in HR, in the substitute, it talks about working with HR to hire the executive director, the commission itself. And many of the commissioners right now, in fact, at the last meeting I went to, we had one of the commissioners left because they were sitting on a nonprofit board, and they were getting ready to help out with the process of hiring an executive director. So the people that are sitting there currently are already working with hiring and firing and managing. This is not new. I know that as a city we have had difficulty with commissions. Certainly, I mean, Metro Arts, huge cluster. But again, that commission was very much looked at as like, oh, you have a Monet, you like art, you should be on the Arts Commission. Didn't mean you had to have job experience. We just threw you on there. So the things that we needed the commission to do, people were selected that couldn't do it. That's not the case with this commission. These people were all voted on because they had the requirements to do this work. So to assume, again, that someone else can do it better, I don't think makes sense. And they are able to get ready to go. They've already received the list of individuals. They've already started having conversations about these individuals and sorting through how they whittle those numbers down. So I hope that we won't hem them up any further.
Are there any other questions of the sponsor? Okay. You want to be recognized?
Yes, I
On
have a
Councilmember Stiles'
substitute, yes. I have a couple of comments, and then I think we do have HR here and the administrator.
And we do have a commissioner, so I want to make sure that they speak as well.
So I guess the survey went out to all commissioners, right? So everyone had the opportunity to answer the survey. So if you didn't receive the survey, I don't know if your email is outdated or you don't have an updated email that you gave to the clerk, but everyone had the opportunity to fill out the survey. And we took all of that information from all commissioners. So everyone had that opportunity. As far as having a department of one, having a department of one takes more than just that, right? Essentially, you become an HR person for yourself. There goes the supplies, right? Where will you be housed out of? These were all things that we discussed when we were contemplating the Contract and Compliance Board. We didn't just take this and paint a broad stroke, right? We have had issues with several of the boards and commissions who do hire their own executive directors. It's not just the Arts Commission. It is also the library board that had a similar issue, right? This board is granted very special, but it is not unique in a sense that they get to be outside of the bubble from the process, right? It is the first time that the board is going through the process of hiring an executive director. So essentially, they don't have the experience of hiring an executive director and managing them with Metro in mind. They might have it outside of Metro industry. I don't know. I'll give it over to
Hold on. Let me.
HR to speak on that.
Before anyone speaks, I'll need to recognize them. So with that, I wanted to make sure you had an opportunity to respond. Are there any questions on the bill that's before us that, if not, we can move forward with the vote? Yes. Councilmember Stiles.
Thank you, Chair. So in regards to the survey, I think it's safe to say, so one of the things that came up in said meeting was the survey. Not everyone did receive it. Not all of the seats were filled either. So even if you did get a survey, it wasn't a complete group. And that was rather early on for the commission. In terms of being able to move into another space with one person, and there's still money there for them to hire a coordinator. So whoever we would be hiring would be someone that obviously would know how to have some HR responsibilities, because they're going to be an executive director, and executive directors do hire their staff. Can I let the chair, Max Butler, speak before we move into
voting?
Yes, and
So,
administration.
let me ask you, so there's a room full of folks, I don't know who's here to speak on any legislation or anything, so if you, what do you want?
I would like Chair Butler, who's in the
Okay.
corner.
If you'll identify yourself, and what would you like him to cover?
If he could cover what this process has been like for the commission.
For the commission, wonderful. Mr. Butler, will you identify yourself for the public record?
Hello, Max Butler.
And then let's keep our comments under a minute. We're going to be closed.
As quick as I can.
Yeah.
Max Butler, Chair of the Music, Film, and
And
Entertainment
thank you
Commission.
for coming down here to be
Yes.
here with us today.
Thank you.
And thank you for your service.
Appreciate it. I just want to clarify something on the survey real quick. So it was sent out in July, and at the time we had 7 people respond. I think we only had 11 or 12 members at that point. I've corresponded with Mr. Rosenberg, and I've tried to correspond with Councilmember Sepulveda, but I haven't received a response. He confirmed that, yes, 7 people answered, but I don't have the information of how many people sent it or opened it or anything like that. And out of that whole survey, only 2% of the 230 people responded to the survey saying that they thought there should be fewer seats on their board and commission. So that's like just a couple people out of the 230. I'm so sick of this and talking about this. I've been doing this for years, and my time has been wasted, and it's so frustrating. I'm like, you can see my hands shaking with frustration. I feel like our board has been disrespected in this room, and I'm just so ready to be done with it.
Are there any other commission members?
Everything that, I'm done with, I don't know, yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Mr. Butler, thank you.
Thanks.
First of all, for being here. Thank you for your service. I think all of us who take the time to request that people step up and serve on these boards and commissions do so because we actually want to see you serve. I'm sorry you're feeling this way. I think all of us say when we try to understand what folks' pain is, that when someone feels that way, there's a real reason behind that, and so I was trying to make sure we understand that. So I appreciate you being here. I appreciate the communications that you've sent as well. Of course, me acknowledging that in your service does not weigh against any other work from colleagues that are going into this, but I think you being here and just the statements you've made should be heard and made a difference. I will, Councilmember Stiles, I know I think you're asking me to make sure that other
Vice Chair is here.
What I would love to do, if there are members that are here that serve on the commission that want to speak, if you'll raise your hand, we'll go in order of your presence here. Just identify yourself by name and feel free to speak for 1 minute.
My name's Jeff Gordon. I'm the Vice Chair of the Commission. Thank you for taking the time to hear our concerns. It's been a difficult row to hoe from the get-go. I've been a part of this conversation since Mayor Purcell. To see this come to pass has been a big shot in the arm for our community. We're thankful for the opportunity to bond with Metro to see if we can actually get something going. It has been frustrating. I agree with Max, but I do see the potential in what we're attempting to create here. The process of hiring an executive director, I've really appreciated the ability to work with human resources and people within the mayor's office, though it's been a slow process. I think the slowness is exacerbated by the fact that a lot of us are film professionals and not governmental officials. That is difficult. My understanding from the get-go was that we were going to be the hiring authority, not the mayor. That's what happened with Mayor Purcell and mayors prior to that. There'd be a new face in the office in the seat, and the rotating door just made it unattractive and inefficient for the city and the representation as such. I voted for the idea that we would be the hiring authority instead of the mayor. I've had questions beyond that. We have very little time to deliberate amongst ourselves to see what that means exactly. Beyond that, of our 117 people that we're trying to hire, how many of those people actually have governmental experience and how many of them know how to carry a sandbag? There's lots of passion in the room, but how are we going to be viewed professionally to be able to stand up to the rigors of this office, especially starting off as a new entity. I'd love to take questions because I can just kind of burble on here if there's anything I can.
Thank you so much. If folks have questions, they can definitely be recognized to ask. The other members that are present, do you all want to be recognized or just state your name? Or is there anything like that? I want to give you an opportunity. If not, we'll move forward.
I'll speak. My name is Hazel Jordan Smith, and I am the founder and director of the International Black Film Festival. We're celebrating our 20th year here. I'm glad to see this commission be in place, but we also want to make sure that it's clear on its role and that we don't have any confusion as we are trying to attract an industry in here that says that we know what we're doing. For 20 years, I've been trying to say to LA, look, Nashville has got it right. We know what we're doing, but we don't want to make sure that they can carry on, that people can use a stereotype. Well, you know they don't know what they're doing in the South. So we want to make sure that we understand and have everything in place. You know, I voted for that we're the authoritative voice with this new person that's going to be hired, and we hope that that's what will happen. And we, of course, respect the mayor.
Understood. Do you want to be
I'm just going to say I'm Gina Miller. Good to be here, and I concur with everything that's already been said, including what Councilwoman Stiles said.
Wonderful, thank you. I just want to make sure I'm not overlooking any of the commission members that are present here. Are there any other questions from the committee before we move forward to a vote?
Shannon Hall.
Director.
There are questions.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm open up to council. I've asked
the conversation. I will say there's never been a Department of One that they will spend their whole time administratively supporting their existence rather than doing the work of the commission. So part of, and I would also say, I'm just giving that as a functional, I've led two departments that have been here 20 plus years. I've worked in every facet I can think of. I can talk a little bit about that, but I would also say that I'm on the working group as well. So to the extent you guys have questions, like everything that Dave and Councilmember Sepulveda have represented have been consensus among a really broad cross-section of folks across Metro trying to make recommendations so that our policymakers, a lot of these boards and commissions, are as effective as they can be in the work that they're doing. So no, there's not really any other agenda like that, but I will say, like, just the ability to process one's payroll, leave time, we have procurement laws, delegated purchasing authorities, trainings, the ability to exist and do data entry for oneself. I feel like there's never been a Department of One, and you have to administratively do those functions. Using Councilmember Sepulveda's Contracts and Compliance Board, having it placed in a department allows her to use the existing HR functions, the existing finance functions, the existing administrative functions, so that the executive director can actually focus on the work of the Contract and Compliance Board and their safety inspectors. So
thank you, Director Hall.
Just wanted to.
Any other questions of Director Hall? I mean, we've heard from the administration as well. No one's at. Any other council member questions? I've got Councilmember Stiles, Vice Chair Vo, Councilmember Cap after that. And then we're going to move forward to a vote on the substitute, and we'll move forward with a vote for the bill, depending on what happens to the substitute.
Thank you so much. Oh, sorry.
Vice Chair Vo.
Go. No, you go. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Chair. I just had a question because I'm hearing everyone, and it seems that like everyone wants to move the commission forward, if I'm hearing correctly. And it seems that with the ordinance as written, sponsored by Councilmember Sepulveda, it will move forward, and then they can move on with hiring the ED, and then moving forward as the Entertainment Commission. And then if I'm understanding clearly, if the substitute is passed, that is not necessarily true. And I don't know whether it's, if HR can confirm or if the mayor's office, I'd like to be clear about that, because I think that we are all frustrated. I myself too. I know y'all been in this from the beginning. We want things to move forward, but I think that these two, the bill and the substitute, do have different implications, and we need to be clear. And I want you all, as the commission, to understand that we're on the same page.
Let me ask for clarification from the two sponsors, and if you keep it brief, to respond to that. If you all are asking for someone else to chip in and respond, feel free to. But Councilmember Sepulveda, do you want to respond to?
I'll let the mayor's office respond, because I know that this process is supposed to be expedited in order to hire the executive director.
What? Okay, I didn't hear. Do you want to identify yourself?
Sure. Dave Rosenberg with the mayor's office, and I'll be very brief. The bill from Councilmember Sepulveda will allow the immediate swift hiring of an executive director. That's necessarily slower when a commission is doing it, because everything is happening in periodic noticed meetings. Also, based on all of Director Hall's points, I feel like the ordinance as filed is setting up the commission to succeed, and the substitute is setting it up to fail. Either way, it will continue to exist, though.
So whether it's set up to succeed or fail, does that answer your question, Councilmember Vo? I'm just trying. I was like, that was a little commentary on the side of Mr. Rosenberg, but I was going to say, so without the commentary, did you answer her question?
I thought that was the question, not extraneous commentary. I'm sorry, I may have misunderstood.
I just was, so it seems that like if it is the ordinance, there'd be an expedited process through the mayor's office, and then if the substitute, it would then be on the commission, and then, like you said, it'd be based on periodic, all the publicly noticed meetings, and it could take longer, essentially, correct?
And then they won't be able to work.
Oh, yeah. And then what?
I'm just concerned about its existence beyond that. For like the hiring process, let's say it all happens.
Do you want to be recognized? Sorry, I was like, come on, people, let's go. We're almost done here, maybe. All right, Director Hall, would you like to be recognized to respond to that?
Yes. I had raised this issue with the commission. I met with them a year and a half ago to talk about functions and duties, creating a job description for over an hour and a half. I noted there that when it was located in the mayor's office and was able to utilize the HR functions and finance functions in an existing department, I was still concerned that the executive director was going to spend a lot of their time doing administrative support just for its board. Agendas, publicly noticing, and minutes. So one of the things I had suggested was, hey, you need to get another position and more funding because you need administrative support. So I had recommended that when it existed, had all those resources. So if we are going to do a substitute now, which in all fairness has not been run by me, I've seen it in the substitute packet, so I've only just had the benefit of reading it, not discussing it. But as it's drafted, just existing without, like as it's a department of one, you administratively can't just exist. There are many checks and balances throughout the government, financial, HR, and otherwise, to exist as a department and an employee. And that person will have to spend a good chunk of their time just navigating those legally within our organization. That's just an observation, but no one has discussed the substitute with me.
I know, it's been on us for quite some time. I'm sorry, no one has personally gone and discussed that too. But, all right, Councilmember Vo, you have your question answered?
Thank you.
Now, Councilmember Stiles, you're recognized.
So I think it's very difficult to ask all the people that are involved in the boards and working group that we have no access to, that keep showing up to meetings with new legislation that we have never had a chance to think about at all, and it just gets sprung on us to tell us how this substitute can't work, right? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But what we did hear from right now are commissioners that have existed since 2023 that are saying that it's been a frustrating process from the very beginning. And we are taking from them a power that we gave them literally in August, and then suddenly decided our vote didn't matter, and we need to take their hiring power away. They have already begun the process. The job was posted in December. This legislation came to us in January, and now we are being told there's suddenly all kinds of problems with the original legislation, and there are going to be HR issues. There's money in the budget right now for an executive director, and also to hire a coordinator as well, and their new budget request hasn't even come in just yet. So I think to paint this that this person would not be able to get a department going if they're coming from having experience as being an executive director and doing these activities. I don't think we would hire an idiot to begin with. I think we have insulted these commissioners in a variety of ways during the time that they've been in this room, whether it's been side commentary or the idea that suddenly we know better than them. But we want to believe that another commission has other people on it that we should trust them in what they've done. So versus looking at two different groups and trying to pit them against one another, I think we just really need to look at the facts. This was not a problem for a previous administration. It passed. It went through legal and it passed. So right now, we're not dealing with a legal issue, we're dealing with personal things. And that has nothing to do with our constituency. We need to let them do their job, and they already have the names. They have already started to have meetings about this. So the way this bill is written, they have the capacity to do this. I think we need to allow them to continue. Again, they have experience in doing this. There is a place for this one person to go. I think this kind of Chicken Little approach that the sky is falling and, they'll never be able to figure out how to do things is inaccurate.
Thank you, Councilmember Stiles. Councilmember Cap, did you have any other questions? I was recognizing in response to Councilmember Bo's question, I recognized Councilmember Sepulveda and Councilmember Stiles to be able to respond, who also then deferred to other members. Did you have another question before we move for a vote?
Just a brief word of discussion, not a question.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair. This will be somewhat repetitive for my colleagues because we went over this at the last meeting, but with so many commissioners here and members of the public, at the risk of being repetitive, I just want to say that this has been frustrating for us, and I know that that's nothing compared to the frustration that y'all have had. Jeff, in particular, has taken his time to explain to me what you all have been through. And so it doesn't mean a whole lot to say that we're grateful for what y'all have done, but I think that this commission has a ton of potential, and Nashville's been punching way below its weight for a long time in this cultural sphere. And I think it's really, we are grateful, I am, to y'all for trying to help us get to a place where we are acting like the cultural powerhouse that we are. The way that I have thought about this and continue to is that something that requires cross-departmental cooperation and coordination, and what little I've learned about the Metro government, really requires mayoral say-so and mayoral leadership in order for it to work. And so my inclination on this is to support the bill as filed because I have concerns that an independent department won't be able to pursue that kind of collaboration in a way that's effective. I do think there are downsides to this. We certainly don't know the future, but if a future hypothetical mayor doesn't support the independent department, then it won't work anyway, in my estimation. And so in order to get the most buy-in from the Metro and from the mayor to try to move this forward in a aggressive way that I think can meet our potential with y'all's leadership, I do lean toward the bill and not toward the substitute, but I want to do that in recognition of the immense frustration that y'all have had and in the spirit of trying to make it come out as well as we can.
So I know we've got members of the public raising their hands to speak, but I'm going to continue to focus on the council members here. Councilmember Ewing?
I literally just wanted to ask if the chair could say one more word, because he's
Wonderful.
been
Yes,
very
Are there
patient.
any other, before I recognize you, and I will, just give me a second, you've got other, looks like you also want to be recognized, Councilman. I know, we're so far beyond our time, but we also didn't start late because we didn't have we started late because we didn't have a quorum. So that is also on us as council members, who, if we're not here present, then the delay of the start of this meeting is just going to be the delay of the start of this meeting, and that means conducting business. So I don't mind spending more time on this where it's needed, especially if we have members of the public here. Councilmember Ewing, you're making sure that we want to recognize Mr. Butler. If you want to, please do keep your remarks
very quickly.
brief. Thank you so much.
What we've got here is like a false choice, right? It's either administration or Councilmember Stiles. The choice that I would have wished we would have had is a conversation if this was even filed. That's the third choice, is deferring this and having an actual conversation about it with the commissioners and figuring it out. I understand all of this Metro stuff, right? I'm not a civil employee. I'm not a Metro Council person. I'm not an HR person. I'm a producer. And it's not my job to come up with these things and these bills, right? I'm just telling you that we don't want it to be in the mayor's office because of the history since 1993 with these past offices. How it gets figured out, it's really not my problem. Y'all wrote the legislation, y'all voted on it, and Metro Legal signed off on it. So that's where I'm at.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. I am going to move.
Could Councilmember Allen wanted to?
So with that, are there any other questions from council members on the legislation? Council member.
Speak for 30 seconds. I will just say several things.
Please, if you'll announce yourself.
Berkeley Allen, council member at large, and I attended many of the meetings at the beginning and did hear repeatedly the frustration with what happens when administration changes and how that ends. So I think that should be a goal. Maybe it's a long-term goal to get there, but that should absolutely be a goal. I would also note that there are 19 other commissions that have over 15 members. So that's the part that I'm concerned with right now. So I would just say if there's a way to ultimately get to, we have the precedent already of the housing division ultimately becoming its own department, and it benefited from being in a stable place and then becoming its own department before it got whipsawed back and forth, and I think that's very, very important for us to do. So I appreciate the fact that we are just continuing to discuss how best to serve this group, because they've got great things to do.
I do. Thank you so much. I know there was another commission member who was raising her hand. Is there anything you need to share before we move forward on the council?
I just wanted to say I haven't heard anyone speak about solutions, about what can possibly be done if we move as an independent group on our own. So this is 2025, people. I mean, something can be worked out in terms of collaborating, of how we can take advantage of the HR systems that are already in place. Computers talk to one another. They do every day. So why aren't we talking solution?
Thank you so much for that. Any other council members have a question before we move forward with the vote? And so we are voting on the substitute. Are there any other points out there before I move forward with the vote? I'll make sure I eye everyone. I don't have my glasses on, but they're staring at me. That's good. No one else? Administration? Everybody? All right. I'm just make sure I give everybody an opportunity. Sorry. I'm going for the vote here. Okay. Sorry. That was just me to my friend over here. So I'm going to go through, we're on Councilmember Stiles substitute. All in favor, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3.
Easily is 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. 4 in favor. All against, please raise your hand. 2. 1 present not voting here. All right. Look, so the substitute passed 4 in favor, 2 against, 1 present not voting. And so the bill as substituted. I guess that's it, right?
Yep.
Take a vote on the bill.
Okay, so we'll vote on the bill as substitute. All in favor, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Against, 1, 2. 1 present not voting. So the bill as substituted passes 4 in favor, 2 against, 1 present not voting. All right. Now for the long-awaited Metro Parks Department. Thank you. I want to say thank you to everyone that was here today, and we'll move on to the next item. This is the final item for all those hanging on. BL 2025-706, an ordinance approving 2 greenway conservation easements between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville Nashville and Davidson County through the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation, Rogers Group, for greenways improvements. Councilmember Toombs, there is an amendment that would like to, she's also sent a letter of her support in her absence. Is there, the amendment just does,
Can we explain it real quick for you?
sure.
Kevin wrote Metro Parks.
Especially since you waited so long. Thank you.
Hey, it was entertaining.
And thank you for your service on council, by the way.
Thank you. You're very welcome. Thank you so much. No, the last time when it got filed, this is one tract of land where we're doing a greenway, and it's Habitat for Humanities is doing a big development over there. It's one tract of land, but there's two separate easements, and the original package only had one of the legal descriptions for the easement in there. The second was not contained in there, so we just had to do an amendment to bring in the second amendment, so it was now all legal and proper.
Thank you so much. All in favor of the amendment, please? Okay, I was gonna say, raise your hand. All right, any against, any present not voting, the amendment passes. All in favor of the resolution, or the bill as amended, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any against, any present not voting? Okay, it passes. With that, is there a motion to adjourn? Second. All right, thank you all for stopping in.